of JDG to throw them into the mix here as they start on the blue side. Let's talk a little bit, Dagda, because in 12-13, we have had another Giga patch that my brain has just been able to barely absorb. But we know one thing's for sure, things like Zeri, Kalista, Renata lanes seem to remain true, with them already being taken out of the way first up.
Yeah, a lot of these picks are still incredibly strong on that bottom side. And I mean, we're still looking at Ahri being very strong in the mid lane. We're still looking at the Azir kind of creeping in around there as well. So although there is like some changes that have come through, I think a lot of what we're still seeing is similar enough, except for things like Sivir and these kind of things that are creeping up into the meta as well.
Yeah, so the Azir you mentioned, good call. That's actually going to be banned by JDG. So first pick wise, I mean, Wukong's still there. What else are we looking at? The Ahri you mentioned, again, spot on here when we have Yagao and Icon playing, who both have piloted Azir and that Ahri 70 times. The other champion is a big pick priority is this Taliyah, and for Yagao, 4-0 on it so far, 25 KDA. He's been a star.
Yeah, it was just nuts to me when I looked at the patch notes. It was like, oh yeah, Taliyah, she's been pretty in the meta. Yeah, we're probably just going to see her nerfed. And I was like, wait, she got buffed? I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay. So this is actually something that's been creeping up a little bit in Korean solo queue. It's the Sunfire Blade of the Rune King Renekton combo. And we're seeing it a little bit more and more across the board. So I'm curious if that's going to be the game plan here for Bin. And we're going to see Khan instantly go towards a Diana. So kind of getting that like AP jungler Renekton combo already for BLG. I expect we're actually going to see a lot of attention towards this top side.
Khan's already played the Diana before as well, worth mentioning, for one of their wins too. So I feel like, yeah, playing towards topside Dagda, you hit the nail on the head. We'll continue to digress because I'm wondering how BLG build the rest of this but JDG, back to the Aphelios for hope. That's also Rise's most played, so not only a good champion, but a good takeaway from the bottom lane of BLG.
Yeah, and especially when you've already got the Zeri and the Kalista banned, Aphelios has kind of just become the next big threat. In that bottom side, you got the ability to try and play around it with the Taliyah. So I'm wondering what we actually get, because I imagine you picked your jungler here just to make sure that Kanavi doesn't get pushed out of kind of the equation, but looking at the Zhao here, so going to be looking more for that kind of early bridge, working with the Taliyah through that mid-jungle to try and get the ball rolling, which is exactly how we know JDG like to play.
Oh, the skirmish heavy team, the bloodthirsty team, the scrappers, I think we called them in 2020, like, absolutely. But BLG, though, I was more curious as to how they round out these first three picks. When we have a Diana, Renekton, I mean, we've already seen one Sivir before, Dagda, but is this the option they want to take here? And yes, they do. So we get Sivir once again.
Yeah, I actually like the Sivir here. So Sivir has kind of turned into this like late game threat now with all the changes that have come through.
Even more so than before.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that often you'll see her struggle against things that are super long range because she's incredibly short ranged. But when you look at like Aphelios, not exactly a massive long range threat. Same when you look at the Taliyah, you already the Zhao is going to be jumping in on top of you. So the ability for JDG to try and play at range isn't really going to be there. So I'm curious now what JDG want to try and answer against this with. I think a Gangplank for 369 could be pretty good. It does struggle a little bit against the Renekton in the top side, but in the early stages, but you can tend to just outscale the Renekton and be fine in the later portion.
What about support here? Because we've got a couple of support bans, and if you want to keep BLG at arm's length, then I'm curious as to what you put missing on here when you've already got a bit of engage.
I think for JDG, you've kind of already committed to this short range, so I think you just have to go ham. Like, go all in on, like, getting something like a Nautilus, something like a Leona, so this kind of stuff that can just go in aggressive. The only thing I would be slightly worried about is maybe if they're worried about, like, a wombo combo coming through with, like, Renekton, Diana, maybe they actually end up going a bit defensive and take something like a Tam Kench just to try and keep Hope safe if they end up getting flanked, but...
it's a Renekton mid, isn't it? It is a Renekton mid. Icon is returning to the LNG days. Dagda, I saw that JDG Fiora ban, and I'm like, wait, a JDG thinking of sending that Renekton mid, and now we know for sure with support last pick for BLG.
Yeah, it's just weird to me that BLG didn't, like, cover that, right? Like, they just kind of, like, keep it a secret. You've got the red side counter pick, so take your support here, and then actually kind of keep that hidden until the end, so you keep JDG guessing. Now JDG just know, oh, okay, so we're playing Renekton mid, we're going to take the Jackson towards the top side, so we take the Sejuani, decent enough matchup, and there's the Tam Kench that we were talking about, because you've got that engage in your top half of the map. So, I mean, overall, you're actually pretty happy with the way this has gone for JDG. And let's not forget, I think the last time we saw Icon play the Renekton was at Worlds 2021, where he went to 0-7. So just keep that in mind for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember, dude. Don't you worry. I remember. I think that was the hardest moment for me to swallow as an LPL fan with our 4th seed. So, well, Icon's going to have to show something new here because against the Taliyah, it's going to be a fun time. However, to finish up for BLG, that support last pick better be good considering we've got a Lulu Enchanter Dagda. We want to know what goes with this new Sivir, and it feels like an Enchanter of their own is how they want to play this with a comp that now has a lot of speed.
Yeah, this is a really nice addition because the biggest problem that you were seeing on BLG's side is they were highly reliant on like Diana being their engage tool, but now you can kind of like help solidify that with the movement speed we're talking about from the Seraphine, the big ultimate being able to set up for those fights as well, and enables guys like Renekton so incredibly well because they're going to be trying to run people down. You fire that ultimate through everyone and should be able to lock people up. So I think for BLG, they have good ways to enable this 4-man on the bottom side of the map. You've got good side lane threat with Bin as well on this Jax. So for JDG, they really need to try and get the ball rolling early to kind of snowball control of this game away from BLG, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that.
Because again, for BLG, it counts so much. This series is so important for them. For BLG, they cannot afford to drop a single game, let alone series right at this point in. As I fiddle around Dagda and get ready to get into this one, for JDG in a much better position. They've already secured playoffs. And at this point, it is just about striving to be ahead of top esports, V5, get yourselves a top 2 lock-in so that you automatically go to our double elimination in our best of 5s. It's so important for both these teams. And I think to finish this one off, before we get into the game, Dagda, BLG for game 1 have just brought out a completely left-wing comp, like a completely different field. But at this point, I feel like you kind of have to, when you know the players you're going up against are so bloodthirsty and are in their prime, you got to swing a right hook in the draft to make a difference to open up this banger.
Yeah, again, it kind of feels like BLG are just trying to see what sticks with their team. We actually highlighted the last time that they've just been playing mega late game. Like, they've been playing Azirs and Victors and, like, hey, we're just going to hands off with Senna and Aphelios to the later portion of the game and see if we can win there. So BLG have kind of gone, okay, well, that hasn't been working for us. Let's bring it back now and go for this crazy, strong early game comp. At least when you look through their mid-jungle, like, you do have great scaling coming through with the Sivir and that, and you've also got the Enchanter support. So their late game isn't anything to be sniffed at, but certainly when you hit 6 here, I want to see what Con and Icon can do in this mid lane.
Strong 2v2, looking forward to that too. It's Ignite taken on this mid Renekton, Exhaust for Yagao with Unsealed Spellbook. And I also wanted to point out, Dagda, that you started this segment today looking at Crisp's champion pool. You know, he's kind of the victim of BLG suffering. Crisp has now played 14 champions with the Seraphine. He has not played Seraphine as of yet. So add one into the mix. Crisp champion pool, the split is just nuts.
Yeah, again, just trying to see what he can make work. But I think the Seraphine here, as I said, was a really smart pickup. So delighted to see Chris bringing that one back out. I'm going to have to see exactly what he can do when we get towards those late game team fights. Because I feel like for BLG, if they ever get themselves posted up onto like objectives first, and they're the ones with vision control, this composition's terrifying. Like, if they ever get in on top of you, you pretty much can one-shot everyone on the back line. The only person who probably will be tanky enough is 369, but even then, that's going to be a bit of a stretch with how much damage is on BLG's side.
True, going to need a bit of time. Bin already starting this lane off really nicely, though. 369 with an Arctic Assault start, but Bin will be happy with the trade. And meanwhile, when we talked about how 6 is important, I think we need to watch Can a little bit closer because, excuse me, he's been pathing towards the top side for now, but will be spotted out on the waters. Never mind, Exhaust's going to be put down in the bottom lane. We're going to talk a little bit about Missing versus Rise right now, who've both taken big chunks. And junglers can wait for now, Dagda, because they are just doing their full clear, which happens to be towards the top side for both.
Yeah, I think Kanavi roaming through mid there, though, did help Yagao get a bit of a freeze off in front of his tower. So it looks like Yagao at least in a good spot where Icon can't try and go for anything early, which is going to help out massively for Yagao, because he just wants a little bit of time to stay away from this Renekton and make sure that he's going to be safe with Rise. Taking a lot of damage in this bottom side, so already Missing in Hopes putting their name on this bot lane.
I mean, the 2018 music video is still the best world song, but apparently not the best AD in this game. Might be a little bit offensive, Dagda, but let's be real. Rise has come up from the LDL team that won LDL Spring, by the way, and a team that was a bit of a powerhouse where Doggo now sits. But against these LPL players, it's a whole different beast. As Hope and Missing continue to push in 17 CS to about 10 with the wave crashing under turret. There will be a small lead for Hope to kick off this game. And Dagda, we know how safe they are because JDG too saw the ward in the top side that spotted out Can as they now spot him out yet again thanks to Kanavi.
And that's the thing for Rise, right? Like, this guy is... Oh, actually, hang on. I'm going to hold on for this to look for a gank mid.
The seismic shove was dodged away. There's a slice and dice. Wind becomes lightning, and Icon becomes flashless in a matter of seconds.
Really nice job there. And that was what we were talking about before, but Yagao getting a little bit of a freeze off. It means that you have to overextend his Icon, and Kanavi ends up coming around to make sure that he can get that bit of an aggressive play off, burn the flash, and now they can go for those repeat ganks mid. So already that mid jungle we're talking about for JDG coming in clutch.
Well, it's a good start to the game, but remember that BLG, you told me yourself that level 6 is going to be crucial here. Renekton, Diana, so many tools to come up, and especially around those neutrals, so we'll wait and see around this first Dragon, around this first Herald, because that's when things get interesting, Dagda. We didn't talk about JDG's side, right? Weaver's Wall, things like Glacial Prison, so many good skirmishing tools that can come in clutch.
Yeah, great for skirmishing, great for early roams, and especially when you get in towards team fights, being able to dictate how fights look with the Weaver's Wall is going to be crucial here. Like, Rise, not going to be able to, like, move over these walls. Same when you look at Crisp. So if Yagao can get some good walls where it helps out in just either helping JDG close the gap or splitting up BLG, it's going to be crucial. So we're going to have to see how Yagao's Weaver's Wall look as we get to the later portion of the game, because it's actually been really interesting. Like, it's something I've noticed a lot with LPL Taliyah's, is that we don't actually tend to roam a huge amount with the Weaver's Wall in the early stages, like traditionally you would think of. It's actually become more of just a control tool for team fights, which has just been a very different way to look at it compared to, say, some of the other things.
I mean, zoning potential, we've seen Xiaohu's Taliyah especially, right? Like, those mid-game fights were sublime. So a good point to be raised. He's doing well enough in the lane for now as he gets the push once more. That's right before Dragon spawns, but Can is now looking down the barrel of Kanavi, and Icon is still sitting in the mid lane. Seismic shove, that was janky. Not sure what that interaction was, Dagda. I guess it was right against the wall, so he didn't get the shove back.
Yeah, I think it just like clipped on the corner and was like, you can't send you into the wall or over the wall, so you're just going to kind of stand there. But not going to be too bad. Khan will be able to walk away, but you can still see Yagao full push mid. Kanavi's dictating control over River, and that's exactly what JDG want to do. Because right now, you've got a massive lead for Hope in that bottom lane when it comes to CS. He's going to start walking away at this tower as well. So as long as you can deny BLG access to that bot side, you're in a good spot. But
are they going to give away something in the process, though? Dominus late. Icon, what? Icon popped the Dominus very late, Dagda, as Yagao's already out. At least they get the flash, though, from Can coming in at the right time, but Kanavi's already on the Dragon, and he'll be able to get away.
Yeah, Icon, like, not able to get the point-and-click auto-attack either off was a bit sad there, I'm not
again,
gonna lie.
Dagda. I hope we're not doing it again.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, okay, you get the stun off, even with the flashing, maybe you could try and follow up, but nothing there, so Yagao able to just flash away from that one. Dragon goes the way of JDG, and now he'll just reset and continue to let this bot lane for Hope just absolutely dominate this matchup. And the thing is, right, what I wanted to say was, Hope also, a guy who came up from the LDL, right? We saw him play on EDG a while ago, then went back in towards the LDL. So he's familiar and has played against Rise. And it's not like Rise was any kind of pushover coming through from the LDL. This guy was third team, all-pro team in the LDL, like someone that was quite highly respected. But as you say, like the experience that you get playing in the LPL makes such a massive difference. And you can see that even this like couple of short stints that Hope has had in the LPL has given him such a leg up over someone that in theory is one of the top 380 carries that are coming out from the LDL.
That's right. I mean, even in the LPL now, he's risen to be near towards the top tier, this split especially. So, not only is he getting good experience, but a bit of a reality check to open up this game with a 20 CS lead that you were mentioning before. Pickaxe is the difference down here against this new Sivir. And, you know, as well, Dagda, I've been watching a lot of the LDL recently, and I feel like the biggest difference is kind of that macro factor, right? The coordination of teams to trade off on objectives, you know, swap sides, make the better play. It feels like for a team like JDG, we're always talking about them taking fights and then pushing a lead to absolute exertion. As we're kind of looking to see if they can do that here in the game one we know them to do. Herald's up, but Can is nowhere near. He wants to make the bottom side play instead.
Oh, JDG might be caught.
But with Exhaust going down, Missing still has the flash. The Moonfall is available, but Can doesn't get in range. So for BLG, jungler now shows, and Kanavi can clear this last cap Dagda and maybe just start the Herald.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt from Con. The idea was, look, we already have this massive wave on bot side, so Hope and Missy will get to Reese. Oh, hang on, Rise.
Oh, he's going to take the 1v1. Okay, on the hunt is
Wait.
Pop, but the ulti too. Spell Shield gives health now, Dagda, and it's going to help out a lot as Icon, this time the Dominus Greatest Khan, helps get him first blood, but Kanavi wants the kill on the Croc, and a 1-for-1 now becomes a 1 versus 2 with Chris making it an equal trade, but Khan might die before he gets there. Double kill to King Kanavi, and Herald was theirs before, but now certainly is going to be in their pocket.
Just makes it even easier for them to pick up. Nice roam from Missing, as maybe he's looking for a bit more here. Bin needs to be so careful.
He's got Exhaust too. Bin has Flash available, but the Glitter Lance might be able to do the damage. Is it too late for Bin? Yes, it might be. Missing with an auto. Pix helps out for his kill, and JDG, the blood finally starts to pour.
Oh, Bin wanted to crash that wave so badly, but he wasn't able to, and it's all gone disastrously here. So Icon, nice job here to make sure that he gets onto Yagao, right? Dodging away from the unraveled earth, so then he can actually get the stun down, sets up nicely for Khan, but Missing just on the roam timer so much faster, and this Lulu and Zhao combo is obnoxious when you're able to get these two working together. The attack speed buff is perfect for Zhao because he's healing, he's getting off the CC faster, and they're just able to pick that one up. So nice job from JDG to use the advantages that they had on the map.
2K gold lead off the back of that as well. Like, those small couple of plays have ballooned the gold so much further forward. Hope almost getting a solo kill against Rise in the bottom lane as well. He's got his flash available. He's now got range too. Rise is out of mana. And Dagda, I mean, JDG, we're expecting big things out of them this series against BLG. And even though this team loves to go to game number 3, I feel like JDG always start game 1 in the series off so strong.
I mean, Yagao jokingly said in an interview, it's like, yeah, we always win the first game, then we throw the second game so we get more experience on the stage, you know? But I do agree, and I think it's coming back to what you said was, look, the difference in macro, right? Because I think when we look towards how that play was set up, Con had a nice idea, was like, look, we don't get control of our bot side. Let's actually play into a bot side gang so we can kill Hope and Missing, and then we can kind of cross-map the potential Rift Herald play, or means that then I can get Rise and Crisps to come and help me up at the objective. But Missing was just like, okay, I understand what this is. I'm going to roam faster. We're going to abandon bot side and make sure that I can get there for when Con and Crisp tried to make the play at the Rift Herald, thinking they have bot side control. So you can kind of see like JDG are thinking one step ahead, and now they're thinking one step ahead again as they start to move into this bottom side for another gank before Dragon.
And I mean, Yagao's Weaver's Wall too, so as he moves down, he'll be spotted by a ward, but the threat will be there for BLG. And at the very least, make them push off of this neutral. However, having said that, Icon and Dagda are trying to get here before it's taken.
And we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to follow up on this. Icon has the Prowler's Claw.
Do you still want the fight? I mean, that's a 3-man grab at him. Do you still want the fight? Encore is good. But Icon, as he pops Dominus, has done nothing so far. Exhausted into the backline. He's been exhausted too. Dagda, Renekton is 0-4 in the LPL for a reason. And once again, with Prowler's Claw now complete, it doesn't look like any hope is going to be restored in this game too.
No, they're already nearly 3,000 goal behind. Kanavi,
Prove yourself and rise. Okay, flash away. Kanavi has it, but he doesn't care about burning it. This has gone from fun draft, let's wait to 6, to, oh no, let's wait for this to end because JDG is slaughtering them.
Yeah, I mean, this is domination. This is why JDG have become so terrifying in the LPL, because once they get a lead like this, they don't let up. 100% win rate with a lead at the 15-minute mark, and something tells me, Hysterics, we might be seeing them with a lead at the 15-minute mark, especially as you see fights like this. I mean, great Gravitum ultimate coming through from Hope, beautiful setup, and even you can see Kanavi like popping the ultimate right before the Seraphine ult comes across, the Encore comes across, so he doesn't even take any damage. Like, it's just easy as you like from JDG.
And you can see that Bin had TP, just didn't want to come down to the fight. He's like, nope, I'm not joining this. I don't care. 369 still with his teleport available, and Bin pays the respect of the ability to match and stays in his lane. So for BLG, They don't get anything done, and Missing is now once again roaming up towards the top side. And it's so funny watching him versus Chris, because Chris was known as one of the best roaming supports once upon a time, as 369 has now moved on down. He's going to be just fine, but Dagda, seeing Missing out roam him is just kind of a sign of the quality of life right now for JDG's sub.
It just ain't happening right now. Is Hope and Missing going to take a good amount of damage on this top tower. Like, Hope is going to be huge in this. 2 kills already with Gale Force completed. JDG are invading bot side as well.
Oh, cannot. Okay, well, with the flash away, blast cone right there, still denied. BLG getting caught out on so many different fronts.
You're not allowed to win both sides of the map, JDG.
True.
This is illegal. You're not allowed to just go, oh yeah, Hope and Missing, we're just going to take top tower. Oh yeah, by the way, we're invading on your bot side. And look, it was just perfect timing. Crisp had just reset and was walking out of base to try and help in on top end. So JDG just go, cool, well, we are actually just even, and we've got the pick on Khan. So really nice job there from JDG to continue exploding this game in their favor.
Still, like, the side lanes punching against these turrets. 369 doing a great job, and that was before the 14-minute mark. It feels like a game that's been going for 25, 30 minutes at this point, with how JDG are playing the map. And as we keep complimenting them, for BLG, looking all out of sorts at this point, as Missing and Hope now move back to mid, looking for their own little siege yet again. And Dagda, like, for BLG, I think we need to talk a little bit about these win cons again, because that mid jungle hasn't come through whatsoever in these grouped on fights that we were hoping to see.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of surprising for me that Khan did go with the Diana. Like, he has been a bit more of a early game threat where he wants to try and link up with Icon and try and look for these early plays, or even linking up with Fofo, but hasn't been able to get that with the Diana here. And now Kanavi again looking to get the better of his jungle part as he roams in towards his top side.
Taking whatever he wants, more importantly, putting vision down that's been spotting Can all game. This jungler, Khan is a player in the LCK. That's what hurts me. You know, I can't do that. I have to call him Can. Except that, I don't know how Americans say it. Can? Like coral.
I think you're going more Canadian there, to be honest.
I don't know my accent well. I'll be honest. I try.
See, I'm very versed in the Canadian accent. I had the Score Esports boys down the other day. So they were filling me in on all the hockey and how they like to banter. But
hang on, we'll get a pause.
No laughing matter up here.
Available. It's going to pop him. At least he's on the right side. Flashes away from the seismic shove, and Yagao's roam is well timed considering Herald's already started up. But JDG losing a little bit of their firepower. BLG moving in, but still not confident enough. And why would you be? The Herald goes down in the end. JDG just forced them back. No response.
No, going to be able to just walk away. I mean, a nice attempt there from Yagao to try and get the pick on top side, but I mean, it's pretty much all they wanted was just to get that Rift Herald that Kanavi now has in his back pocket. So for JDG, again, just full domination here. And especially when it comes towards objectives, JDG have been so impressive across the board on any of these early plays. Like, they're second in Dragon control, they're third when it comes to Rift Herald control. Like, they just are so completely dominant across the board when it comes towards any of these neutral objectives at the early stages.
Picked up every single one so far. I mean, even the turret game is 2-0. Will soon be 3-0 with Herald opening up the mid lane. Next Dragon's available. BLG have objective bounties, but they just can't get any objectives. As JDG once again move down to this one, they'll be on Soul Point at 16, almost 17 minutes into this first game. We said there were issues with BLG, but this is looking like opposite ends of the scale at this point.
I mean, the biggest problem is that they just haven't been able to match up in lane. Hope and Missing destroyed the bottom side of the map, which made it so easy for Kanavi then to just play around the early dragons that JDG are so good at. Then they're able to operate like this, where they just keep looking for invades and trying to see if they can find picks. And Icon, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he is. The Prowler's Call won't get him out of that one. Wind becomes lightning. Kanavi wants to dive, and with the Moonlight Vigil, they make it easy. Good Crescent Guard as aggro is reset, and Yagao picks up the kill credit. Dagda, Ina goes down, and you look at the top side, it's not like Bin is getting anything there, because 369 is a very large refrigerator yet again. Well, JDG zoned them out with a Great Weaver's Wall, and the turret in front of the inhibitor will take more damage. Well, they can't get a break.
The problem is 369 is one of those fancy fridges with the ice as well. Like, he is absolutely destroying people. He's even got a CS lead.
Voice activation. You know, you speak to the fridge, good morning, fridge. It opens the doors for you. Like, 369 is one of those fridges from Japan that is 10 grand, but it's the best fridge you'll ever own.
I mean, and that's exactly what JDG wants. And with the amount of gold they have, why not go for the expensive option? Because they're just murdering Icon underneath this tower. They're destroying BLG. And if they want to have a nice, cool drink at the end of this, they deserve it.
They do. Nice stop. 369. Ben tried to join the fight, or maybe just tried to get away as we come back from the replay. He knows he's dead. And again, you know, Kanavi just leaps in. This time, kill credit is shared with their top laner, who's been on a fancy island this time as well. JDG, 8-1, almost a 10k gold lead. What more could you want from an already confirmed playoff team that we hyped up as being one of the best? I mean, Dagda, I've said on multiple platforms that I feel like JDG are going to Worlds this year, and if they keep playing like this, absolutely they are. I
mean, top esports, V5, RNG, JDG. It feels inevitable at this stage. There is a very solidified top 4 in the LPL right now, and then everyone else is trying to play catch up with these guys. And you can see here for BLG, this is why we haven't had the confidence in them that they're going to hit playoffs. I mean, if they end up going up against the caliber of a team like JDG, they just aren't able to keep up. But now, we will have to see what the story is going to be for the rest of the series. But this is kind of giving us a good look at what JDG are capable of. And when you reminded of BLG's schedule upcoming, it's a tough road for BLG, and this is not a good start to it.
It's really not. We already talked about V5 being in there, like WE the easiest matchup, but BLG, even if they lose this series, you know, game difference as well is going to be big, but it's going to be massive. So BLG trying to make a turn. The Encore runs out of range. Kanavi gets a free ulti as well. Look at everyone attacking him. Rise on the Sivir is doing no damage. He has the flash to get out of dodge. And at least now for BLG, they do find a positive trade, but as Yagao moves in, trying to poke them down, and 369 doing the same, BLG are still stunned. But hey, you pushed Kanavi down, you took a flash. We'll take the small wins.
Yeah, the seismic shove's not quite able to connect from Yagao, so a bit unfortunate there for JDG, and it means that BLG at least get to keep some control over their top side, but we're more interested in the Dragon in a minute and a half, right? And when you look at where the lanes are positioned, how there's no real towers for BLG to try and hunker down to and keep presence in mid, presence in bot. You just push those waves as JDG, establish vision control on this bottom side, and then if you ever try to face check this BLG, like, what do? Icon's gone this lethality build, which means he doesn't really have damage. You're saying when you look at Khan, he can't do anything. 369 is just being a nuisance on this top side, and that's not even what you're worried about here as JDG.
Yeah. If he had ulti, he would have solo killed Chris, 100%. Ignite almost up and available too. But being a nuisance, kind of BLG's job, JDG's job, I say, is, yet the ult comes up and Can is now caught out. Tries to run through, and these LDL talented members are just being picked apart. Rise, Can, and, you know, Icon was a bench warmer for a bit as well, Dagda. BLG are getting outclassed. Ooh. Dragon's up in 40 seconds too, and look at where Icon is. I mean, they must be hunting for him.
I mean, yeah, they're actually they're fully aware. They're like, there is definitely a crocodile around here somewhere. So, gonna see if they can find him, but they actually won't. 369 goes back down towards the bottom side. Icon is just going to sit here and see if he can catch people out, and they spotted 369 on the bottom side, so maybe this is actually a moment here for BLG.
Well, he has Prowler's Claw, so I'm glad he's playing like an assassin here as TP comes through and 369 will join in. Icon not sitting on any vision, but for BLG, you can see the missing pings are being thrown in these respective brushes. For BLG, they know that they can utilize Icon, but they're still so far behind. They've still got to deal with the extra item on each JDG carry. And Dagda, as this soul is now ready up and available, BLG looking to throw the Hail Mary as Icon pops the ulti. Prowler's Claw is coming in, but they've spotted him out on a ward. Dragon resets as 369 sends it out. The Encore doesn't hit from Crisp as Icon and Crisp and Ben jump onto Hope in the back line. As he flashes away, at least he goes down. Missing trying to help Yagao as Kanavi needs to provide tactical assistance. Wind becomes lightning, a bit of AoE. JDG is still fed as Missing is dealing with Ben. And it's the best fight BLG could hope for, but they're just too damn weak. A triple kill for 369 on this riding hog, and JDG going to ride into the sunset with that one.
And it's an Ocean Soul as well, so they are sailing over the horizon on this. BLG can't even spot them anymore. They're that far ahead. And as you say, this was a great fight for them. I mean, Bin, fantastic engage onto Hope. Starts to counter-strike, leaps on towards Hope, flashes to follow the Gale Force, Icons here, and they just don't quite have enough damage to take down Hope before he gets a good chunk of damage off. And then on the top side of the fight, 369 finishes off the Sivir, which means that JDG then have already won at least one side of the fight, and then they can come back in with Kanavi and Yagao dealing out the damages.
Icon was feeling it, you know, had to at this point in the game. When he hasn't done much on this Renekton mid, Dagda, he didn't go for the Sunfire, by the way. We already mentioned the Prowler's Claw. Blade of the Room King coming through as well. This is a very squishy Renekton. And when he's so far behind, you know, it's everything against the wall, as we saw. Throw it all into Hope and hope that it works out. But for JDG, still finding the fight means they now move to Baron, and Dagda with Ocean Soul, this one becomes even trickier.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see the healing coming out from Kanavi. He's totally fine with the Ocean Soul. I mean, Khan can maybe look for the steal, but I don't even know what happens after that.
Good Weaver's Wall at the very least, but Khan's still in range, going in for the steal. Gets it! Oh, he can do it! The JDG have lost the Baron, and BLG are out with 4 members for now. Icon steps backwards, though, as the Encore is going to save his mid laner's life, Crisp, in the nick of time. But Icon is still on the wrong side of the rift. So, Baron for 3 people. It looks like it. It was with Baron recall over the wall. They're not going to spot him. Icon is out. So 4 Dagda, 4 for that miracle steal.
That's actually a pretty, good that BLG at least got the steal, but it's only feeling like it's going to delay the inevitable. It might buy some time for Bin to get into position where he can get pretty strong. He has gone for the Hull Breaker, so he wants to just try and play side lanes. And at least the Baron should help him in that regard. But Kanavi...
Okay, well, in the 1v1 versus Icon still, do you favor the Renekton? No, I guess not. I guess Kempunk Chainsword also comes in handy against Blade of the Royal King.
Yeah, I mean, 5 kills on the Xin Zhao, even though he's a little bit low health, still means he's able to get a ton off. Gourd Drinker as well means he's got a lot of healing coming through, so unfortunate there for Icon. He did try. I don't know if his Ignite was up. I don't know, maybe he just came up after the fight. I didn't quite spot it, but we're still going ham on this top side.
We are. Bin does not have the Ocean Soul. 369 does. And so as Bin pushes in, he's relying on his jungler, but still getting very low. Pops the ultimate. Meanwhile, the game might just be ending bot. Can came up to the top side to make magic happen, but the magic is being seen bot Dagda. I mean, Nexus turrets are exposed. TP coming through. 369 joining in as BLG. Now back their jungler on top. But they've already lost so much here in this 25-minute game that just seems to drag on longer than we expected. As Ocean Soul is helping out Kanavi with an audacious charge to follow suit. His ultimate is not up and available, but as he becomes lightning once again, that ulti from Crisp only just missing, feels so bad. Kanavi keeps running forward and he's finally punished, but a glacial prison means that Crisp is going to be ticking down as well. Close to dying, but for BLG, it might have just been enough to hold on for however much longer.
Hey, I mean, at least from BLG's perspective, they were at a negative interest rate when it came to their Baron control.
Yep.
Before that fight, but afterwards, I mean, at least they got a little bit of a positive move. So picking up some kills there, going to do nicely for them, at least help them out a smidge. But the fact that they lost their inhibitor, their Nexus turret, and everything is not exactly ideal. And I actually thought for a second JDG were going to be able to win this fight, but again, Yagao just not quite connecting with these seismic shoves. It means that BLG are able to come back, mount the offense. They are consistently able to use this defender's advantage with the fountain there as well to just heal up and come straight back into the fight. So JDG, even though they nearly get these kills, like if Bin had gone down, if Crisp had gone down, that could have been the end of the game, but not able to do so quite yet.
I mean, they got 17 kills in 26 minutes, so still showing us that they're in charge. The 10k gold lead means that this one still feels hopelessly done against BLG, but I guess we're going to dot some more of those eyes as a minute 30 until the next Baron arrives. Excuse me, that's actually Elder that arrives in a minute 30. BLG now going to be forced away from their mid lane as JDG. Look at the setup topside, Dagda. Look at what bot is now pushing the rest of JDG, hoping that mid can get into this inner as well.
And I mean, you're just kind of falling out of the equation here with some of the players that are on BLG side. Like Icon, 2.5 items when you're looking at 3 items on a lot of these late game scalers in JDG. Icon just isn't really relevant anymore. And especially when you look at Bin as well. On 12-13, we saw pretty sizable nerfs to the Divine Sunder. And because he's got Hull Breaker as well, he just doesn't have the same survivability that we saw coming through from Jax in 12-12. especially when you add into the equation that he just hasn't gone for that more team fight orientated build.
I mean, especially since when is he ever going to be alone in some of these side lanes with the way the game's going as Icon's over the wall, being a bit cheeky. Crisp is going to commit as well, but that encore as it hits 2 people still doesn't do enough. Ocean Soul coming in clutches. Hope gets a free 2-man ulti, and 369 is just going to let his AD carry die. He's looking for something in the base. JDG was still winning the fight, but Hope just getting nuked out of his mind, while unfortunately the nuke is neutral for Icon. He blows himself up in the process. BLG, that's it. Finally, they will fall.
I mean, Crisp is the only one left standing. Won't be a victim, at least here for the moment, as JDG will look to finish out game number 1.
You got 4 members. Crisp is 1 Seraphine, and honestly, with the genocide against Skarner's people, I think Seraphine has to be retaliated against. Crisp will die too. And Captain Flowers, if you're out there, justice has been served as JDG get game 1. It took a little while, but it was still a game 1 to be proud of for one of our top teams in the league.
Look, I mean, there never really came across a point where JDG ever looked threatened. We had a Baron steal that bought some time there for BLG, but JDG controlled that game from start to finish. Incredibly dominant performance from Hope and Missing on the bot side. They just snowballed out of control across the board.
It's a good look. I think we need to talk about jungle first. Kanavi putting on a bit of a clinic in the game. Dagda, it feels like, when Kanavi's in control, something unlike the Zhao, he can set up his team for success. And a lot of those early neutrals, be it off the back of the 2v2 going so well, but Kanavi being in the right place at the right time, as we always say, felt like it made the game just that little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, look, it helped out massively that Yagao was dominating in the mid lane, so it meant that you just didn't really get an opportunity for BLG to try and play around the 2v2. Yeah. And I'm still kind of scratching my head at what the Renekton was supposed to do in this matchup, because obviously Icon was like, hey, look, I've played this before, I know exactly what to do with it, but it never really got to show its stuff. Like, it's hard to get the slice and dice as Renekton because of the Unraveled Earth that you get to throw down as the Taliyah. The ability for Taliyah to have the seismic shove as well makes it very difficult for you to try and stick to her. So I just never really understood what this Renekton was supposed to do. And because it ended up falling behind early, having to blow the flash thanks to Kanavi, well, then you never really got a chance to actually play around that 2v2 at all. So really odd from BLG to try and all in on this style. Yeah. And it just never worked out. I mean, you can see there, damage not exactly sky high across BLG's side. I mean, Crisp did more damage than Ryze in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
That's rough.
Almost more than Icon. I think that's worse, right? Like, we're talking about Sivir being even more of this super late game scaler, but the fact that Icon with a Prowler's Claw did 200 less damage than Crisp kind of shows you how set up he was this game, Dagda. And as you were saying, it was level 6 we're waiting for Can and Icon to sync up, mid-jungle be such a big powerhouse to whatever part of the map. But it just never happened. Like, the Renekton mid again felt like Icon back on LNG, back at Worlds.
Yeah, I don't know. This was just so bizarre coming through from BLG. Like, I don't mind Ryze and Crisp being there in the bot side. I think that's actually a nice duo. I think it's just unfortunate that they just weren't able to match up in the 2v2 at all against Hope and Missing. The Renekton pick doesn't really work out. Like, I liked it initially when it was like, oh, we're going to put this top and see what you can do there and try this, like, Blade of the Rune King Sunfire Aegis build that's been going nuts in solo queue. But, yeah, I don't know. It felt strange to kind of all in on this super early game stall when BLG's only success they found in their last few recent series has been playing for late game team fights.
They're not the fastest team either. I wouldn't say they're the most decisive, Dagda. So for BLG, trying something new is great, but we're going to see if that adaptation leads them in maybe a better direction for game 2. We're going to take a break.